A very good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whatever place you are. I hope it is shining. I hope everything is okay with you. I hope you are stable. I hope you're looking forward to the day. I hope the day has been treating you well. I hope your family is okay. I hope everyone around is okay. And I hope your life is gathered together in one direction and you're getting fulfillment from it and you're earning and you're making a change. You're making an impact in this wide world of ours. I hope your dreams are on the line and they're being delivered. And I do hope you're really working on those particular dreams. This is a daily episode. This is a daily podcast, It's a daily podcast on the subjects of purpose, subjects of productivity, and also resilience. We do this every single working day by God's grace. We are in the middle of a series. What are we doing in this series? We're talking about reputation. And right now we've been talking about the 7 ways you can recover your ruined reputation. We have been doing this for quite a while now. Yesterday we closed the first way, which is to acknowledge your wrong. And there are 3 things under acknowledgement. Today we're going to look at another way in which you can be able to recover your reputation. But before that, a small background, so stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Quite a lot has gone into these episodes talking about reputation, and you cannot run away. As long as you're a human being, you cannot run away from reputation. It affects you. It affects the way you conduct yourself. It affects the way you're going to be successful or not in this life. A reputation is something that opens doors for you or closes doors for you. A reputation is something that makes you have favor or have disfavor. A reputation is something that makes you have connections that are vital or helps you or maybe makes sure that those connections are closed. It is that critical in our lives. Warren Buffett said that it is true. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and only 5 minutes to ruin it. It is that critical. Building is easy. Building is not easy. Destroying it is the easiest thing ever. Think about that. Reputation loss affects more than just the money that you have. It can also linger on for longer than you expected. It can linger for a while longer than you had earlier envisaged. And when your reputation is ruined, you need to come to terms that quick. Come to terms with it that quick and fix it. You need to come to terms that, again, a quick fix is not the solution that you're going to apply at all. You need to brace yourself for a long haul strategy to rectify the situation. And a ruined reputation has repercussions that differ from one person to another and also from one entity to another, depending on the context and depending on how high it had gone. Someone said that the higher they stand, the taller they stand, the harder they fall. What I've found out, though, is that the loss of a reputation is not something that anyone is immune to. All of us are open to that, and that's why we need to learn how to manage our reputation. We need to, learn how to handle this, and we shall talk about this in the upcoming episodes. We're going to continue talking about this. For now, we need to find out exactly what we can do when our reputation is soiled. In the previous episodes, we talked about how important it is to be radically transparent. That's the key. radically transparent with ourselves and with the world whenever we have been found wrong. When our reputation is ruined, the very first thing that we've got to do is to own up, acknowledge our wrong, especially if we are in the wrong. We've got to acknowledge that. We've talked about that. See, acknowledging will go a long way in helping people to see the following things about you. And first of all, your acknowledgement of the mess. This stops the negative tide against you. The more you continue arguing and not acknowledging, the more the tide continues rising and the more people continue bandwagoning against you. Secondly, you're owning up of the mess. When you own up the mess, it earns you forgiveness, because people are always human and they have been where you are. In fact, some of them are just hiding. Jesus Christ told people, whoever has not sinned, let him cast the first stone. Not a single soul did it. Why? Because people are always messing up, and that's why they are forgiving. They realize, they recognize themselves in you. Thirdly, your promise to never mess again. When you acknowledge, it earns you psychological new start and a contract with the people, and that they are now looking at you and saying, let's see. But at least the tide has stopped. They're now kind of giving you a benefit of the doubt. And your commitment to pay the price also, we talked about this. When you acknowledge it brings back the cloud, some of the cloud that you lost. When you commit to rectify and play, and it pains you to pay the price of the ruined reputation. And then we talked about your plan to rectify this. It gives you the direction that you need to take. But the perpetual management of your cloud is important. It's henceforth important. So we've got to acknowledge that. We've talked about that at length. And I believe that the way you handle a reputation that is soiled has to be sensitive to what you do first. Failure to acknowledge, failure to be transparent. It doesn't matter what else you're going to do. You've got to do the transparency thing first. If you fail to do this, you failed completely. But then, let us talk about the second thing that you and I need to do when we have failed or when our reputation is at stake. Number two, we've got to go back to ground zero. The first time I heard the word ground zero was 9/11, September 11, 2011, I think. When the Twin Towers in the United States of America came down. They came crashing down. I heard the term ground zero. Ground zero is where everything started. So we've got to ask ourselves this important question. Where did the rain start beating us? See, when your reputation is spoiled, where did we veer off tangent? Where did we take a vector off the direction that we were supposed to have been taking? We posited that the single most potent force that can make you lose your reputation instantly is selfishness. When you see, reputation is about with other people. It's about relationship with other people. When you get selfish, that is where it starts. But you've got to go back to ground zero and ask yourself, what did we start doing wrong? That, I believe, is the root of all loss of reputation that you can be responsible for. Your selfishness. Is that where you started going wrong? Our reputation will not be recovered if we are not willing to unearth the ugly things that cost us in the first place. We've got to be willing to go where the ugly thing is. When the doctor wants to remove a boil and the boil is in your private parts, you've got to go back there. You've got to open up. You've got to, and otherwise you're not going to be healed. You're not going to recover. Radical transparency will be needed through and through if you are ever going to make it. And I'm aware that people are able to manipulate their way into getting a good reputation back. I'm aware about that. And I have to warn you, when you keep sweeping that under your rug, then you are not handling this thing well. When it comes to your reputation, the cost is much higher than you ever think. It's a fleeting moment to sweep under the rug and to cheat about it and so on and cover it and so on. But it's going to be rotting. By the time it's going to be discovered, it's a dead body, and the reputation is harder. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's harder to recover. Then you realize that you would have otherwise just become transparent much earlier on at the end of the day. Besides, sweeping the dirt under the rug is not necessarily recovering from a bad reputation. It is postponing the inevitable. It doesn't give you a clean break to deal with the issue at hand. It doesn't give you a psychological strength and initiative to go and start over. It clouds your mind and your activities. In fact, you take on another big responsibility of trying to keep the lies going so that you can keep your reputation up. It is hard work. It is harder than you think. It promises to be easy, but it is harder than you think. So we've got to go back. If we're going to repair our reputation that is spoiled, number 2, we've got to go back to where the rain started beating us. What did we start doing wrong? If you are to go back and recover what you have lost in terms of your reputation, I think one of the things that you need to do, and I'm going to talk about these 5 things. Today I'm going to talk about one thing. But the 5 things, the first one is this. You've got to ask yourself, what were you known for? What were you known for? Very rudimentary question. Or what are you known for? This is what is at stake. This is what the reputation is all about in a nutshell. What you are known for is what your reputation is all about. So in reclaiming your lost reputation, it is important to know. It is important to ask yourself that question. What was I known for before this fall? What was it that is causing people to look at me positively? What is the contribution? What is the impact? What am I standing? What did I used to stand for? Because that is what you stand to lose when your reputation goes wrong. You need to answer that question here, because it will be important in the planning to recoup that which you've lost. Without an answer here, you have nothing to work with. And I believe that you should already know this. You should already know what you are for. You should already know what it is that you are doing before people started giving you accolades. That is what you stand for. Immediately after you've known that which you stand for, we need to ask ourselves this question: what am I being known for right now? Is it the opposite of what I used to do? This will need you to do some research on what people perceive you for right now. You've got to get feedback from people. If your reputation is at stake, it will be because you deviated from what you were known for initially. We used to know that guy as a guy who does A, B, C, and D. Now these days, you see, that's feedback from people. You cannot just get that feedback from yourself asking yourself questions. You've got to go and find a way, hire someone to do a research. And there's organizations normally do what they call Net Promoter Score, NPS. What is the NPS value? What is the perceived value of people? What feedback do people give of your brand or of yourself when they interact with you? And of course, I've been in organizations where we've worked so hard, but then just a Net Promoter Score that comes is totally out of context, because probably the time that interview was being done, or that questionnaire was being answered, that research was being done, someone might have experienced something, a bad day or whatever it is. But it doesn't take away the fact that the Net Promoter Score, what people are giving you as feedback, is something that you need to work with. So 2 questions. Number 1, what did people used to know me for? And now, what are people saying? That's number 2. Once you've answered those questions, then you are in pole position of unearthing ground zero and turning ground zero to start working for you, so that you can have the necessary tools, the necessary arsenals that you can be able to use to attack your recouping of your reputation, to mount a comeback, so to speak, for your reputation to be back up again. You cannot do this in one day, in 1 month. You cannot do this in an hour. It takes time. It takes patience. But if you're going to do it right, first of all, we said in the episodes that have passed, you've got to acknowledge you did wrong. Secondly, you've got to go back to ground zero. And in going to ground zero, number 1, you've got to ask yourself this question: where did I go wrong, or what did I used to do? Where did I go wrong? What did I used to do? Once you have the answers to those questions, you have the necessary tools to be able to use to rectify the reputation. Tomorrow we're going to continue talking about this, but until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.